You're listening to WTIM, your information station. It's time now for your expanded local news. The Taylorville Park Board held its monthly meeting for July on Monday evening at Manners Park. Sherry Craigs, who heads the pool committee, spoke regarding the Manners Park pool construction efforts. She says Burbach Aquatics is considering submitting a bid for the project. Burbach and the Park District had previously entered into a contract, which the latter is now attempting to back out of after progress on the project had stalled. Craig says that the Park District must resolve this situation before it can accept any other bids, but the process to do so could take some time.
We have to conclude with Burbach, or we have to continue with them, or we have to conclude with them, and that probably will be decided after the next presentation, which is probably going to be in approximately 2 weeks when our attorney gets back from Ireland.
Sherry, did I read something that because you had a contract with them before, that there'll be penalties if you don't go with them?
That has
Yet to be determined.
and but we also have issues that we can turn around and say, hey, miscommunication.
They didn't live up to some of their contract promises either.
Away from the pool, the Park District is planning some work at Janes Park. The goal is to refurbish some structures, build new spaces, and make it ADA compliant. The public will have the chance to share its views on the plans at a public meeting. It's expected to take place on Monday, August 18th at 6 p.m.
You have to have a meeting with the public to ask them what things that they would like to see. Are they okay with this? So we just have to schedule it and announce it. And if nobody comes, but we have them.
Oh, sure.
So does that have to be a special meeting, or could that be incorporated into our next
Yeah, I would
Park
say
District
special.
meeting? Special meeting?
Special meeting usually.
What's the time frame, Jessica, again?
It just has to be done before I submit the grant.
And that's August?
Well, I'd like to have it done by the end of August, but we technically have till the end of September.
Okay.
I'd like to have it finalized and be able to get it to as many.
Well, you
people
set the
as-
meeting when you want to have it.
Craig's also reported that small town Taylorville had requested to use Manners Park for its car cruises and farmers markets. They cited the park's shade and playgrounds, and that this would avoid interfering with businesses and traffic that are on the Taylorville Square.
Can I have one or
the
two reasons?
What?
Could I hear one or two reasons?
Absolutely. One is, there's a lot more room. Secondly, there's more shade. Thirdly, there's a playground for the kids. There's restrooms.
That's nothing juicy.
There's restrooms.
Oh, well, yes, we
There's
have
a lot
that.
of problems with the downtown and shopping and parking where there's not businesses here that were interfering with their business.
Oh,
There-
you
there's
don't
fi-
hear,
there's-
you don't want to hear any complaining?
Yeah. and
Oh, okay.
There's 5 right there.
The board voted to approve of their use of the park for these purposes. The reports near the end of the meeting included that of Office Administrator Linda Moomey. Moomey says that she has made considerable progress in updating the Park District's financial records.
We are still working on the audit with Sickich. We had a Zoom meeting with Marlene and Sue. It went fairly well.
Yeah.
It was a
Yeah.
lot longer than that 30 minutes.
Yeah.
He said.
But we got a lot of things straight and we have marching orders and I've been working on that all week. The IMRF compliance report is done. We do have a few minor things to take care of. I reviewed all the payroll liabilities. Everything is up to date. And we've got a control on the credit card accounts for the First National Bank Taylorville. And I had a meeting with Sue today and we have goals set as far as better reports for the next meeting. So we're getting there. We're getting close.
Good.
The next regular Park Board meeting is tentatively set for Monday, August 25th. A brand new field house at Taylorville High School was unveiled to the public with a ribbon cutting on Monday evening. After months of work, the additional space provides room for the band and chorus, Tommy TV and their production room, and study halls. Also included in the upgrades were those made to the special education wing and its classrooms, with an improved bathroom to better accommodate students. The open house ran until 6 p.m., showcasing the building, with school board members present to answer questions and to meet with families. Brandy Bruley, Taylorville School Superintendent, was also in attendance and talks about what came of all the improvements.
Sure. So we're very excited to have open house tonight for everyone. We're open till 6. If you can join us, please stop by. We're excited because we just opened up our facility in totality, and this project has been a long time coming. It started with renovations to special education wing, a brand new wing that included special education classes, classrooms, and also a lift in there for the bathroom for special needs students, apartment style type living, so some great instruction that could come along with those students, a new conference room. It is also included a brand new choir room, band room, Tommy TV room, and then the gymnasium here that's used as a classroom setting.
Recently, the school board approved moving forward with $15 million in bond resolutions. Bruley goes on to share some other exciting news surrounding the district.
Sure. So we're not done yet. We're very excited. The Board of Education just approved a bond resolution for $15 million. That resolution is through the 1 cent sales tax that taxpayers already voted in several years ago. So anytime you're shopping in Christian County, that extra 1 cent sales tax is dispersed among schools in Christian County. And of course, we're one of them. The next is the Board of Education voted to do some renovations to North School and Fine Arts Center here in Taylorville High School, and then finally taking a look at Memorial to see what we're going to do long term with that facility. So those are the 3 things that they recently voted on.
Jason Hadley, athletic director for Taylorville High School, talks what all the added room will allow for when it comes to school athletics.
It's nice to have another facility for practices for sure. This summer we've already had our football team's been in there when it was storming. Had our soccer team in there, and then obviously basketball, volleyball will be eventually. But just having a space that we can have multiple practices going on at once, and we're not all fighting for gym space in the West Gym. It's going to be great.
Yeah, because last year, if I remember right, there were some practices that were held fairly early in the morning.
Yes, I mean we would have freshman volleyball, freshman basketball would take place at 6 a.m. Just so they had time to get on the court by themselves and didn't have to share it. As we all know, varsity kind of trumps the rest of it. So for those freshman groups, it was tough, and it's going to be great this year to be able to have, all 3 levels of volleyball going at once, all 3 levels of basketball going at once, mix and match in here and there. It'll be great.
Find out more about the Taylorville School District at tcusd3.org. Groovy 97.3 WRAN broadcast live from Taylorville High School and their open house. Taylorville Memorial Hospital is gearing up to help families get ready for the upcoming school year with a back-to-school health and resource fair on Saturday, August 2nd. The event runs from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Christian County YMCA and is located at 900 McAdam Drive in Taylorville. Families attending the fair can enjoy a free community cookout beginning at 11:30 a.m., provided by Dinner Seasoned with Love. The fair will feature music, games, kids' activities, a produce giveaway, prize drawings, and a variety of health and resource vendors. On-site school physicals and vaccinations will also be available, or families can schedule them during the event. No registration is needed to attend. However, families receiving school supplies through Operation Loaded Book Bag are asked to RSVP in advance by calling 217-825-6824. The event is designed to provide families with helpful resources, services, and support to start the school year off on the right foot. This will conclude the first portion of your expanded local news, and it's brought to you by First National Bank of Taylorville.
I'm James Kirk, Vice President at First National Bank in Taylorville. I get it, switching banks sounds like a chore, but we make it easy. I've helped people and businesses move their accounts with less hassle than they've expected and more personal service than they've ever gotten before. We've been here for nearly 70 years, a true community bank that's not going anywhere. If you're ready to make a change, we're ready to help. First National Bank in Taylorville, First every time for nearly 70 years. Member FDIC.
State Representative Brad Howbrook, serving the 110th District of Illinois, discusses the state and federal budgets, library grants, and his decision to run again for the House. Howbrook has held his office now since 2012 and still strives to see major changes made in Springfield. Although he announced his bid not long ago, he says it feels like the campaign truly never stops. Howbrook says there is still plenty of work needed to prepare before elections come back around.
Yeah, so we rolled that announcement out a few weeks ago, and the campaign, I guess, if you will, it seems like we never get done with it just because the election season in the state of Illinois is really long. And there was a change to the law just a year ago, last spring, that the effort that starts with signatures on petitions used to start right after Labor Day, and they moved that up to August the 5th this year. So the season has been added a month. So you start getting signatures August the 5th, file them the end of October for a March primary next year, for a November 26th general election to be seated in January of 27. Wow. So whatever that is, 16, 17 months long. It's a crazy long season. But yeah, a lot of work to get done yet. Our effort is to message the very best that we can. And so that's what we spend a lot of time is trying to point out what's going on in the state of Illinois, whether it's doing radio like this, different newspaper, the video work, whatever it may be, to try to highlight kind of what's going on in the state of Illinois. So we're looking forward to it. Yeah.
Howbrook shares his stance on the Big Beautiful Bill and its potential impact.
The one big beautiful bill that passed out of Congress here, I guess they signed it July the 3rd or 4th, there right about that time, had a provision in it for school choice. And Illinois has ran the opposite direction on school choice the last few years. What we did have as a result of the change in the school funding formula for kindergarten through 12th grade, when that evidence-based funding formula was put into place in 2017, that plows an additional $350 million into the school funding formula every year. A part of that was a program called Invest in Kids, and that would allow for donor money to be contributed, and there would be a tax break for those donors of that money, but it would be sent to an organization that would grant it to kids in need, families in need, to send them to a school of their choice. And but that program had a 5-year lifespan. It sunsetted a year and a half, 2 years ago, and was not renewed. And so that's been a disappointment, that program that was literally helped thousands of kids, I think it was 9,000 kids enrolled in it when it sunset, just left them hanging out high and dry. And so this is a program that's coming from the feds. It's a 100% federal tax credit up to $1,700. And so all the governor needs to do, or all the state of Illinois needs to do, is the governor just needs to do the paperwork to opt into that program.
Near the end of May, the state of Illinois passed a new budget of their own. Howbrook raises concern over the estimated shortfall that's predicted to go with it.
So over $55 billion, $2 billion more spending than the previous year. And when you put it all in total for Governor Pritzker's reign of terror, it's about a $15, $16 billion increase in spending since he took over, about a 40% increase in spending. Of course, along with all that spending, there has been an increase in revenues, mostly inflation related. But then there's been billions of dollars worth of tax hikes. There was another $1 billion tax hike this last year on top of the $1.2 billion tax hike of a year ago. So it just they continue to spend more. They continue to tax more. And oh, by the way, there was a bill that would allow the state of Illinois to borrow $1.6 billion more money. That gives the state of Illinois, a lot of people say, well, the state of Illinois is broke, or we talk about that. Just get the number exactly for you. This would increase the state's borrowing capacity to $94.76 billion.
Some good news that Howbrook is happy to share involves grants being awarded to continue to support library programs. He says some of that money even made its way to his district.
Yeah, so a tremendous amount of money is sent out to different organizations throughout the state via grants, whether it's these library grants, fire departments, police departments for different gear that they may need. A lot of this stuff is done by grants. There's a formula typically, and so there's programs set up. I mean, there's stuff they call for open lands, park grants. So there's a formula put in place by the respective agency or Department of Economic and whatever is DECO, all this alphabet soup agencies. So anyhow, but there's a way that entities can apply for these different funds, and then once or twice a year, there's some awards made. And so a lot of our libraries throughout the 107th and throughout Central Illinois was a recipient of some of these grants. So we're pleased to make that announcement in our newsletter last week. And so, yeah, I don't have the entire list in front of me, but it's a pretty good list. A lot of libraries were touched by that. So happy to see that happen.
Find out more about State Representative Brad Halbrook at rephalbrook.com. rephalbrook.com. Brad Halbrook appeared as a guest on the WTIM Shelbyville Morning Show. A key part of the Illinois State Fair is the wide variety of foods. It's something that State Fair Manager Rebecca Clark enjoys talking about. More information on fair foods at statefair.illinois.gov/food. Moving now to obituaries, which can be found at TaylorvilleDailyNews.com and are brought to you by Sutton Memorial Home. This is Chad Sparks.
When a loved one passes, grieving family members and friends often are confronted with dozens of decisions about the funeral arrangements. Sutton Memorial Homes in Taylorville and Nokomis have been helping families in the area for over 55 years with these often difficult decisions. They offer pre-planning, traditional funerals, and cremation. Austin and the staff at Sutton Memorial Homes' goal is to make your family's transition easier in their time of need. Sutton Memorial Homes, where caring is what they do best.
88-year-old Mary L. Stickle of Taylorville died on July 26th. A private graveside service will be made at a later date in Oak Hill Cemetery. Funeral arrangements are being handled by McClure Funeral Home and Cremation Services in Taylorville. '84-year-old Charles V. Maxwell of Taylorville died on July 24th. Visitation is July 31st from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. at Schaefer Perfetti and Asali Funeral Home in Taylorville. Funeral service will be July 31st at 11 a.m. at Schaefer Perfetti and Asali Funeral Home in Taylorville. Burial will be at Old Stonington Cemetery. Funeral arrangements are being handled by Schaefer Perfetti and Asali Funeral Home in Taylorville. 78-year-old Joseph Henry Halbert of Dwight, Illinois, formerly of Kincaid, died on July 9th. Visitation is August 16th from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. at Reeves Funeral Home in Gardner, Illinois. Cremation rights have been accorded, and funeral arrangements are being handled by Reeves, Fruland, and Baskerville Funeral Home in Gardner, Illinois. And 93-year-old Donald Hubert Ryan of Taylorville died on July 21st. Cremation rights have been accorded, and arrangements will be made at a later date for a private interment at Camp Butler National Cemetery. Funeral arrangements are being handled by McClure Funeral Home and Cremation Services in Taylorville. Get details on these and other local news stories at TaylorvilleDailyNews.com or on WTIM. WTIM is your only local news radio.